compromising security right here in Nairobi. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Okay, generally, you are saying that you are satisfied apart from those general issues concerning the new sub-counties and the rest, and vehicles, and you seem to be aware of the challenges, so we can move to the next. Thank you. The next is response, so the same committee actually, to the Honorable Catherine Omanyo, member for Busia. So, Vice Chair, you have a response to the Honorable Catherine Omanyo from Administration and Internal Security. Proceed.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Let's agree that since the Honorable Catherine is in the House and she has read the response, you can try to summarize.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I'm well guided. Madam Speaker, Honorable Member for Busia County, Honorable Catherine Omanyo, has requested to be appraised on the status of operationalization of an administrative unit in Busia Sub-County. The Honorable Member particularly sought to be informed the status of operationalization, reasons for delay in operationalization, measures being taken to operationalize. Madam Speaker, in terms of those that have already been gazetted, Sub-County Busia, Divisions Bukayo West, locations Murende, Lunga, Esilu, Mundika, Bugenge, Nasira, Buyosi. Sub-location Namikoye, Madele, Siamakanga, Sikabwa, Indole, Mujuru, Bukalama, Mundulusia, Kungungu, among many others. Madam Speaker, the ministry has clearly said that theirs is not the only one. They will require something like 2.5 billion to operationalize all those sub-counties, locations, and sub-locations and divisions which have been gazetted. So they are seeking the authority of this House to increase funding so that they are able to operationalize. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Vice Chair. The Honorable Catherine.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Service delivery to any Kenyan is not like we are requesting. It's their right. And I want to request the chair and the ministry to commit that they will prioritize Busia budget, because we just want service delivery to reach our people just like any other Kenyan. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Well, I would like to defend the chair. I do not know, Chair, whether you can put yourself in that position where you identify one county and make a commitment to the Honorable Catherine Omanyo. Yeah. I'll come to you, Professor. Chair, I wanted you to avoid making that comment, but if you want to comment, you can go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I believe looking around this chamber, each and every member is waiting for a location, sub-location, or a sub-county that have been gazetted to be operationalized. And the bottom line is they don't have enough funds. But what we will do as a committee, to be fair to everybody, once we get funds, we make sure we stagger so that you get a location, another one gets a sub-location, so that there's a spread on the face of the country. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Honorable Catherine.
Madam Speaker, our issue, especially in Busia, is different because we are a border town and insecurity issues are just too much. We can't handle. We need these assistant chiefs, the chiefs, to be motivated, to be made, like given something to do to make their work easier. We are not requesting too much. We are not a baggage. We are just saying that for us to also live in our country and feel safe and work in places that we know that the security is good, for us to grow kindly. Let us just think about Busia first.
Honorable Professor. Professor, please proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. As much as I want to empathize with the Vice Chair for the statement, also being just a conveyor belt, but I just want to bring to his attention, and I hope he's listening, and this is an idea they can explore at the committee level, as well as the responsible accounting officers and the Cabinet Secretary. For example, Honorable Speaker, in my own sub-county of Samia, in Samia District, they gazetted in 2017 about 3 locations, a division, and several sub-locations. Up to date, none of them has ever been actualized. I have pounded my feet in all the offices that I could have gone to. All that I get are promises, and endless promises, to an extent that I'm almost baptizing this government as if there are promises made in the book of Genesis, the world will come to an end one of these days. Honorable Speaker, I just want to make a suggestion. All that we are requesting, for example, as at the border point, is simply personnel. Our people are used to working from home. We can always create spaces all over to get them offices to work from. We just want personnel to assist, coordinate the security matters. We have just been here a few minutes ago, and we have clearly said there's shortage of police officers in this country, and you don't have a budget to employ more police officers for the time being. So the gap is left. There's nobody to coordinate community policing. There's nobody to provide or gather intelligence information.
Honorable Wilberforce Oundo. You know that this committee and this house is going to facilitate hiring of 24,000 police officers? 10,000 police officers?
Yes,
So there is a budget. We'd like to thank the committee for the work that they are doing.
And even with those 10,000, the ratio of police
10,000
officers.
police officers.
Yeah,
24,000 is teachers.
Is teachers.
Yes.
The ratio of police officers to the population is still much, much lower than the UN standards. So we are unlikely to get to a point that you can solely rely on police officers to assist in security operations. We are just asking, can you just consider? We simply want personnel. Simply personnel.
I think you
Issues
made your
where
point.
to work from, how to get moving, the community, feeling the pinch of insecurity, will step in and do the job. We're just asking, simple as that. Thank you, Honorable Chair. Speaker.
Members, the chair made a very fair statement that this matter is going to be handled, and since the matter cuts across almost all counties of this country, I think he has given a very strong statement that it's going to be handled, and I would like us to end it at that. It's okay to debate and also showcase the need in your counties, and I think that has already been done. Honorable members, I would like to move to the next, which is a response to the Honorable Chege Njoguna, member for Kandara. He has been waiting. The same committee, please paraphrase the way you have done with the second one.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, the member for Kandara constituency, the Honorable Chege Njuguna, has requested to be appraised on disappearance of Mr. Moses Inganga Muya. The honorable member particularly sought to be informed on the status of investigation on his disappearance. Secondly, steps being
The
taken.
Honorable John Mutunga, order, Chairman. It is very rare for you to put an intervention. Member for Tigania.
It was on that issue, Honorable Speaker, the issue of insecurity.
Okay, so it's been overtaken by
It
events.
has been overtaken
Okay.
by events, yes.
Proceed, Chairman.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Steps being taken by the National Police Service to complete investigation to ensure that Mr. Joseph Nganga Muya is found and reunited with his family. Thirdly, action being taken to ensure those found culpable. Madam Speaker, the National Police Service clarified that as per OB number 15-2012-2024 at Memble Police Station, the missing person report was correctly identified as Mr. Joseph Nganga Muya, not really Moses, as indicated in the parliamentary question. On 19 December 2024, Ms. Miriam Wairimu Muya reported at Memble Police Station of the unknown whereabouts of her brother, Mr. Joseph Nganga Muya, who was an employee of Modern Pacific Furniture at the time. A missing person report was booked via OB number 15-2012-2024 at the same station. The reportee stated that on 18 December 2024, at about 0700 hours, she learned through mainstream media of a fire incident along Thika Road at the Clay Works area. She became concerned since her brother worked at the Modern Pacific Furniture situated at the same location. Attempts to reach him on his mobile phone were unsuccessful. On 19 December, the reportee, accompanied by her sister, Tabitha Njeri, met the owner of the premises, Mr. Gibson Gitonga Mrage, who informed that at the time of the incident, none of his employees were left in the premises and no human remains had been recovered from the premises, except for the carcasses of a dog. The CCTV footage retrieved from the neighborhood, specifically from Ruiru Mills Bakers Company, was documented via memo FIA 256/2025 and forwarded to the photographic section at DIC headquarters for analysis. From the footage, 2 unidentified people are observed exiting the workshop shortly before the fire broke out. Swab samples were obtained from Esther Wambui Wairimu, the mother of Joseph Nganga Muya, for DNA polling against recovered remains following a skull that was recovered. Madam Speaker, steps being taken by the National Police Service to complete investigation. The National Police Service is still awaiting the outcome of the government chemist result to establish whether buccal swab samples obtained from Ms. Esther Wambui Wairimu matches with the DNA samples of the recovered skull suspected belong to the missing person. NPS, through DCI photographic section, is fast-tracking the CCTV footage to retrieve from the Ruiru Mills brokers. Action being taken to ensure those found culpable are arrested and prosecuted without delay. Madam Speaker, investigation and inquiry, file number 2/2024, are still ongoing, awaiting the outcome of the government chemist report, signed by the Honorable Kipchumba Murkomen. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much. You may proceed. If you have any further questions or if you are satisfied, you can inform the House.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And Madam Speaker, the statement by the chair is just disappointing and unacceptable. Honorable Speaker, I know even the Honorable Chair would agree with me that the report that he just read to the House is just very, very unserious, prepared by very, very unserious investigative bodies. Honorable Speaker, the information provided is incomplete and does not demonstrate meaningful progress in the police investigation as required by law and established procedures. Madam Speaker, for example, on the cases of the DNA analysis, the statement by the Cabinet Secretary informed the House that the Bakar swab samples were taken from Mrs. Esther Wambui Wairimu, the mother of the deceased, on 24th April 2025 for DNA profiling. The National Police Service reported that the samples were submitted to the government chemist under submission reference GC/2025/0417 for analysis. Madam Speaker, 7 months have now passed, yet the results have not been released. I have a question. How long does it take in this nation to receive or to conduct a DNA sample? Madam Speaker, there is no reasonable justification for such a delay. Section 49 of the National Police Service Act requires that police officers perform their duties diligently and faithfully. Again, Madam Speaker, the National Police Service must explain why it has not followed up the matter with the government chemist and why no interim report has been provided to the family and to this House. I therefore, Madam Speaker, request that the Cabinet Secretary tables within 14 days the following. Number one, the evidence submission form to the government chemist showing the date of receipts and the Bakal swabs. Number two, Madam Speaker, the communication records between the investigating officers and the chemist and the government chemist. And number three, Madam Speaker, a written explanation for the continued delay in releasing the DNA analysis results. Again, Madam Speaker, if we look at the issue of the CCTV footage, it's almost a joke. Madam Speaker, the Cabinet Secretary stated that the CCTV footage from Ruiru Mills Bakers Company was retrieved under exhibit memo reference FIA/256/2025, and that analysis were being fast-tracked. Madam Speaker, the analysis here, they are saying they were being fast-tracked, but this is back in December 19, 2024. Madam Speaker, the National Police Service has not presented any progress report since that retrieval. Madam Speaker, Section 78A and Section 106B of the Evidence Act require proper custody, preservation, and authentication of electronic evidence. Madam Speaker, the National Police Service has not indicated whether it verified the footage metadata, confirmed the integrity of the files, or produced any analysis report. Madam Speaker, the absence of the feedback undermines the credibility of the investigation. I therefore again, Madam Speaker, request that the Cabinet Secretary tables within 14 days, number one, again, the evidence chain of custody record for the CCTV footage showing the officers who retrieved, stored, and did the analysis. Number two, Madam Speaker, the forensic extraction report or any interim findings. And number three, Madam Speaker, a written confirmation that the footage is preserved in original and backup copies. Madam Speaker, on the accountability and timelines, the National Police Service, Madam Speaker, has a legal duty under Section 49 of the National Police Service Act to perform investigations diligently and to report faithfully on their progress. Up until this date, Madam Speaker, the family of late Mr. Nganga has not received any formal communication or any formal update. Article 157(4) of the Constitution of Kenya, the Director of Public Prosecution shall have the power to direct Inspector General of the National Police Service to investigate any information or allegations of any criminal conduct, and the Inspector General shall comply with any such direction and therefore requires investigative agencies to submit complete files to the Director of Public Prosecutions without undue delay. Madam Speaker, I request that the Cabinet Secretary again provides a clear timeline for completion of the investigation and submission of a conclusive report to the Director of Public Prosecutions. It's not enough, Chair, and you know that. You have read that report, Chair, and you also can tell that we need more. Madam Speaker, if you allow me, in conclusion.
I give you 2 minutes. I think you have done justice to that
In
analysis.
conclusion, Madam Speaker, if you allow me, the family of the late Mr. Nganga deserves timely justice and accountability. Parliament must ensure that investigative agencies respect constitutional obligations and procedural integrity. Madam Speaker, I therefore seek your direction, Honorable Speaker, on the implementation of these requests and expect a comprehensive, written, and time-bound response from the Cabinet Secretary. Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. And Madam Speaker, I yield back to the Honorable Chair. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you can see that the Honorable Chege Juguna has done a lot of work on that statement and analyzed it fully. And he has raised very important issues. Would you like to make a comment? Or would you like to go by the request he's making because he's indicating the number of days? Would you like to go by those dates?
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, every life in this country is very important. And I would understand why honorable colleague is talking with passion. Secondly, they say justice delayed is justice denied. And from the report that we have, even today we were with the DCI as they were handing over this report to us. We told them that is inordinately delayed matter that should be hastened. I would agree with you and we'll take up that with the ministry. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
I would like you to give him timelines. Can you give timelines?
I think
Some of the matters he's raising are just clearly unfair delay.
Yeah.
For example, DNA from 24th of April 2024 to date, really, must it take that long? So I think to be fair to him, give an indication of timelines so that he has a proper feedback to give his constituents.
we'll give the ministry 2 weeks to
Thank
give
you.
us an adequate response.
2 weeks is good. Let's proceed, honorable members. Next is a response to the Honorable Decor Barrow, member for Garissa Township, from Defense, Intelligence and Foreign Relations. Is the member in the house? In the absence of the member, the response will be, the response will be tabled and he'll find a way of getting it from our table office. Thank you. And since the chair is in the house, Chairman, please table that response on record to the Honorable Decor Barrow, member for Garissa. The Honorable Yusuf, member for Kamukunji.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I have the pleasure of presenting a response to a request from the Honorable Major Deko Barrow, the Member of Parliament for Garissa Township constituency, on the non-implementation of a court judgment
Honorable Yusuf.
on compensation for the late Abdullahi Barredes. In the absence of the MP, I'll submit this statement, table this statement.
Very much. You have another statement to also present to the Honorable Mashua Waithaka, Member of Parliament, Kiambu. Is Mashua Waithaka in the house? Yes, Mashua is in the house. So you may proceed, Honorable Member for Kamukunji, on behalf of the Chair, Defense, Intelligence and Foreign Relations.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. On behalf of the Chair of the Departmental Committee on Defense, Intelligence and Foreign Relations, I'm making a response to a request for a statement by Honorable Mashua Waithaka, MP for Kiambu Town constituency, on the delayed payment of a subcontractor by the Ministry of Defense. Honorable Madam Speaker, the Honorable Mashua Waithaka, MP, pursuant to the provisions of the Standing Order 44-2C, requested a statement from the Cabinet Secretary for Defense regarding delayed payment of a subcontract by the Ministry of Defense. The Honorable Member specifically sought clarification on the following. 1, a report on the contractual arrangements between the Ministry of Defense, China Wu Yi Company Limited, and Jotua Enterprises in the Uhuru Gardens Environmental Conservation Gallery project, including the obligation of the ministry in ensuring payment of the subcontractors. 2, the reasons for the suspension of the project and halting payment for completed works. 3, the measures taken by the Ministry of Defense to ensure that Jotua Enterprises and other subcontractors are paid for works already completed. And 4, a clear timeline within which payment should be effected to protect Kenyan contractors from unfair treatment in government projects. Honorable Madam Speaker, the Cabinet Secretary for Defense responded as follows. 1, on the contractual arrangements between the Ministry of Defense, China Wu Yi Company Limited, and Jotua Enterprises Limited in the Uhuru Gardens Conservation Gallery project. The ministry stated that the Uhuru Gardens National Monument and Museum Environment Conservation Gallery project commenced in February 2022, with the main contractor being China Wuyi Company Limited. The company had several subcontractors working under it, among them Jotua Enterprises Limited, whose scope was to construct the environmental conservation building at a total contract sum of Kenya 24,502,810,000. And number two, on the reasons for the suspension of the project and halting payment for the completed works, the ministry explained that the main contract was frustrated and stalled due to lack of funding. Consequently, the subcontract works also stalled. By the time the contract was halted, Jotua Enterprises Limited had only completed works worth 1,196,504 shillings and 71 cents, of which 63,818 cents had been certified and paid as certificate number one. The second certificate, certificate number two, was prepared for works valued at 592,253.86 cents, but remains unpaid due to unavailability of funds. The ministry attributed the delay to unforeseen budgetary constraints faced by the government, which have temporarily affected the availability of funds for the project. Three, on the measures taken by the Ministry of Defense to ensure that Jotua Enterprises Limited and other subcontractors are paid for works already completed, the ministry stated that certificate number two, amounting to shillings 592,253.86 cents, had been forwarded to the Pending Bills Verification Committee for audit and verification. The ministry assured that once the PBVC process is complete and the claim is validated, payment will be affected accordingly. And number four, on the timeline on which payment should be affected to protect Kenyan subcontractors from unfair treatment in government projects, the ministry indicated that payment for the verification claim will
Chair,
be
is
made.
it possible to summarize?
I am just finishing, Madam Speaker.
Okay.
The ministry indicated that the payment for the verified claim would be made upon completion of the pending bills verification process, after which the Office of the Clerk of the National Assembly would be formally notified of the payment status. I thank you, Honorable Speaker, on behalf of the Honorable Nelson Koech, the Chairman, Department Committee on Defense, Intelligence and Foreign Relations.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Mashua Waithaka, is the response satisfactory? Please give him another mic. You can move to your left, okay?
Thank you, Honorable Madam Speaker. The member, Vice Chair of Defense, I would like to know, you have said that the verification process, you've not given a timeline. You're saying that the verification process is supposed to take, supposed to go on, but you have not given us when. Madam Speaker, Mr. Ikumbi, who is the affected contractor, subcontractor, has indicated to me that he has some very pressing matters. In fact, he needs to pay his school fees for his son who is studying overseas, and he needs to know when, at what time, or what timelines, specifically what timelines do you think that he will get paid for his, the work that he has done? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
I'll get back to the Honorable Waithaka after consultations with the Chairman of the committee.
Chair, I know that you said something to the honorable member. Sorry, I was engaged on something different. The honorable Mbui, is it on the same matter?
No, on a statement, Madam Chair. If you are done with that one.
Okay, I'll come to you. First of all, let's finalize with him. What timelines have been agreed? Please be on record. Did you give him any timelines, Chairman? The honorable member for Kamukunji, representing the chair.
I suggested that we will get back to him within a week after
Fair enough.
consultation with the
That is
committee.
fair enough. You had a point of order, Honorable Mbui, because I do not have any response for statement for you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, actually, I'm just seeking your direction and indulgence. There was a statement that had been requested, and the chair of Roads yesterday did report to the House that the circular that had indicated a reduction in the allocation of the 22% and 10% for constituency roads had been withdrawn. Now, I just wanted to say there are two issues. First and foremost, Madam Chair, there is no letter or circular that has gone to withdraw the other one. And so you cannot say that you have withdrawn by speaking on the floor of the House. That needs to go out because our regional engineers are still using the existing circular, which means basically that has not been withdrawn yet. And secondly, which is very important, that he needs to note that already some of the tenders had already gone out based on the original figures. So how they navigate this period has to be thought through and has to also be done very fast. Because if you delay, and then later on you say some of the roads will not be done, yet they were tendered and people paid for them, then obviously then it's going to be a crisis and people might end up in court. So he has to hasten the process. I just wanted to ask that you push them to be able to give us a response early next week. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mbui. The chair is not in the House. I normally know his position, leadership. It's not in the House. What you have said has gone to record, and I think it's a matter that needs to be pursued so that the letter... Would you like to make a comment? Are you in that committee? Proceed. Honorable
Thank you,
Ibrahim
Madam.
Sanei, member for Wajir North.
Thank you, Madam. I'm a member of the committee, and what the minority leader is, he has aptly put the precarious situation in which we have put on Kenyans. And I thought, if I didn't get it right, that the minister himself shall be appearing on Wednesday, next week, to comprehensively answer on the concerns of this House. If that shall not happen, then what you are saying stands, and there is no letter to that effect. We had a meeting yesterday. I will still communicate the same, Madam Speaker, to the chair so that he can come up with something urgent if there is need before the cabinet secretary appears on Wednesday by himself. Thank you.
So thank you very much. The Honorable Mwenje.
Just an addition, I actually hope the deputy minority leader would address it. Just to bring to your attention that on the page, the Facebook page for Parliament, it shows there was a meeting yesterday with the Transport Committee, and it plays around with figures. You know, we were discussing 36, then we said we've withdrawn that letter, so we are back at 62. But here it shows that you're saying the new figure is 52 million. So it's important, the committee, I'm getting information from Facebook, but then again, it's our page as Parliament. So that's just information you need to have as you bring the Cabinet Secretary on Wednesday. Thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Thank you very much. Clerk's office to communicate those statements to the chair and also to... Yes, Honourable Beatrice Elachi, would you like to weigh on this?
Yes, thank you, Madam Speaker. Mine is just a big worry. And a big worry that this House seems not to see the danger of this issue of roads and CDF. And I can see, Madam Speaker, these things will go. The way we are just joking, people come, they say this, tomorrow we have given them what they want, next day they are abusing the whole parliament, has to stop, Madam Speaker. And the leadership must take these things seriously. Seriously. And if they can't, they create as a committee, we will deal with it and make it work.
Thank you, honorable members. I would like us to stick to what we have said, that the clerk's office to ensure that that communication reaches the office of the chair transport, and also so that it's handled. You cannot deal with a written document through spoken word. I believe this is a matter that must be dealt with immediately. Next order.
Order number 9, motion. Fourth, report on the implementation status of the report of the Committee on Delegated Legislation on its consideration of Public Procurement Regulatory Authority, Circular number 4 of 2025. Resumption of debate.
Honorable members, I do not know whether those who are appearing on the screen have interest in this. On the same? Okay. So we have the Honorable Dr. Shadrach Mwiti. Honorable Karoli Omondi was on the floor yesterday. You still have your balance of 4 minutes, then we can pick the rest from there. So you proceed.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Let me begin by reminding this House of certain decisions that were made here by previous members and how they came back to bite them and created what we call intended and unintended consequences. Once upon a time, members of this House passed something that was called Preservation of Public Security Act. It allowed detention without trial. And most of the members who vigorously supported that bill before the end of that decade of the 60s had actually been detained under that law they passed here. Then at some point in 1982, members of this House also passed, in a record time, 3 readings, a law inserting Section 2A, making Kenya a de jure one-party state from a de facto one-party state. Within 12 months, those who moved that motion here, those who supported it, had been expelled from KANU and their political careers ended. In 1989, in this country, we had a visit by the then president of Romania, Ceausescu. And among the documents that were signed was a security cooperation arrangement, where Romania, being a hard Stalinist communist country at that time, would offer training on how to deal with dissidents, including torturing them, poisoning them, and all those kind of things. The public officer who signed that memorandum was the first victim under that MOU. He was poisoned and he died. I'm not giving names. These are historical records. You can check the Hansard and other documents, official documents. Why am I saying this? Because these circulars, making it mandatory to use e-procurement platform for everybody, reflect that kind of thoughtless executive action or legislative action by those in power. We are now expected, and the directives are coming from a person who had been a member of this House for 15 years. That member, I happen to represent the constituency he had been representing for those 15 years. When he left office 2 to 3 years ago, that constituency had only 30% rural electrification penetration. It had no internet connectivity at all. It had not even a single inch of tarmac road. Today we are being told here, he has signed a circular that everybody who wants to do business with government must do it online. And yet he knows very well that the people of Suba South have no internet connectivity. Not even the national fiber optic cable was ever laid in Suba. So I'm struggling with those things. What am I trying to say? This circular is in itself very thoughtless. Nothing has been presented to this House on the social impact of making procurement mandatory online. Because it will affect even the AGPO, the persons with disability, the women, the affirmative interventions that the government has been making. So we cannot just approve it randomly like that. Mr. Speaker, I urge all the members that we join hands and we adopt this report, annulling the additional 2 circulars, making procurement mandatory online. Because to approve them is actually to invalidate the very essence of public procurement, which is to afford everybody equal opportunity to participate in business. And that we cannot do. And I would like to urge members, first, the circulars are illegal. Section 77 says procurement can be done online or by manual means. The law has not changed. And we cannot allow Treasury or any other government agency to subvert the will of this House when we make a decision, like we did in August, to annul the other circular. With those remarks, Honorable Speaker, I support the report. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The Honorable Beatrice Elachi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I also rise to annul this report. Madam Speaker, you remember very well, a few years ago, in the Jubilee government, we went through a raft of many of regulations. And some of those regulations were very, very tough regulations. And Madam Speaker, you realize by the time Treasury was doing this, they have never brought regulations to guide us on how they want this to be managed. We've been in this House, Madam Speaker, you've seen how we've gone back with CDF struggling, how you need to move on to ensure things are moving on the ground. The mistake we did was when we were dealing with NCGDF, we needed to have dealt with this. And I know even in this parliament right now, our clerk is struggling. I doubt how he's doing procurement. I doubt how they are procuring anything, because we are just there. And so even this, it is very important for us. We cannot be there to ensure the executive is functioning, and you are killing parliament, the legislatures. And it is time we tell the executive, you want to work well, you have to work well with the legislature, work well with the judiciary. And so it is important when you are coming up with a resolution that you know will define the whole country, then sit with the 3 arms and agree on which is the best way of doing these things, Madam Speaker. And so you find ourselves, why is it that people are struggling in the whole sector, in the whole country? Because of this EGP thing. Because even if you ask right now, has Parliament trained people to go and understand how to do this? I doubt. Have we even trained our officers, even us in our offices? We have not. So why can't we have a clear framework where you train people to understand first what they need to do the time we shall start using this procurement system? Then from there on, you know, we have people now who have understood, and now we can. So why can't you put both systems so that you don't just crash everything? We cannot be like Trump, sorry to say, the way he decided just shut down. We are sort of in a shutdown, even us, like America. And so we must, and I am pleading with CS Treasury, understand the different sectors. We agree we need to use the system. But I think we also need to give it time. Let it just come in seamlessly. When we have had all our procurement officers taken for training, and because this system, you as a procurement officer, you do it in your docket, and you have a password. So it's not those days where you'll do it, put it directly on IFMIS. So each person is going to place on IFMIS their own procurements. That is why we are being told you must upload. You must ensure you upload your whole plan. It is good for Kenyans to do tendering all over. I agree with that. But we must agree as a country, we must have stages on this system. And for that, Madam Speaker, I support we annul and we come back here, and Treasury must give us regulations since they have not even changed the law. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. The Honorable Mary Emase, member for Teso South. Mary is not in the House. The Honorable Ibrahim Sanei, member for Wajir North.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I can't still come to terms with why this government is so much concerned and attached to these things they call e-procurement. I can't really understand. Imagine of the fate of somebody from Wajir North, a common Mwananchi, who is illiterate and illiterate, and who has all the right to also participate in the procurement processes of this country, just like any other citizen. For us, internet is still something abstract in the minds of people from northern Kenya. Is this in furtherance to marginalize the already marginalized? What is the purpose? What is the import of this report that's coming back to this house? Who is to legislate? Is it this house? Members of this house? I've never, in the hierarchy of laws, I've never heard of the impact of a circular. It doesn't make sense. And then you proclaim mandatory use. You as who? As who? It is this house, it's either from the Constitution, statutes from this house, precedents that can at least influence how we can reason around in this house. Madam Speaker, regulations through delegated legislation. What else? What is a circular? What effect does it have, and who can call it mandatory use of it? If anything, I can tell you it is not acceptable. It's not accessible to Kenyans. 70% of Kenyans do not access internet services. So why do you subject us? Why do you sit from the comfort of your tables? You have been appointed courtesy of delegated authority of His Excellency the President, on behalf of Kenyans, not to abuse it. You don't have de facto authority to make laws. Then you claim that there must be mandatory use of e-procurement. A CS Treasury, who gives him this authority? And the other circular emanating from somewhere else, I don't know where they are getting this authority from. It is only the bench, the legislature, that can at times through positive activism, that can legislate from the bench. And that doesn't mean that they can come up with rules. They can only impact the House. They see that there is a lacuna in the law. And through that, this House, in effect, comes up with the required laws. How can head of public service make a circular subjecting Kenyans to a mandatory thing? From where? Under the sky. Where does that come from? Mbadi, the CS Treasury. He has been a very respectable, seasoned, and somebody, a friend of ours, over time. So, in a short span of time, he is coming up with authority that is not anywhere in law, unfounded. Madam Speaker, I believe there are no systems countrywide that has been tested and tried for e-procurement to be a successful thing. Then how can you call it mandatory? The use of mandatory itself is sinister. I believe it is a way to help the corrupt to be more corrupt. They want to use internet services to steal and pilfer more resources in favor of the corrupt. There's nothing else for Kenyans in e-procurement system. I oppose.
The Honorable...
I support the report of the delegated legislation.
Thank you. The Honorable Robert Mbui, member for Kadhiani.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Speaker. First and foremost, I'm very happy with the committee implementation, Madam Speaker, for the good work that they have done. First and foremost, this problem started with a circular that was written by PPRA, Public Procurement Regulatory Authority, indicating that every government or state organ must procure through the e-government procurement. Now, the committee has actually gone further because the House had already annulled that particular circular and has identified that there's another circular from the CS for Treasury and another one from the head of public service on the same, continuing to go against the law. Madam Speaker, it's important that we confirm that a circular is actually a statutory instrument. And Madam Speaker, it's important that we note that the definition of a subsidiary legislation under the statutory instrument is very broad. And it talks about a rule, an order, a regulation, a direction, a form, tariff of costs or fees, letters patent, commission, warrant, proclamation, bylaw, resolution, guidelines, or other statutory instruments issued, made, or established in the execution of a power conferred by or under an act of Parliament. Madam Speaker, the circular, therefore, by a strict reading of that definition, is actually a statutory instrument. And there is power conferred in every law to regulatory making authorities so that they can be able to make regulations. Unfortunately, Madam Speaker, they must be following the law, the parent law. In this case, the parent law is the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act, which clearly defines that you can do procurement in two ways. You can either procure manually or procure electronically. Now, it is surprising that the CS, the head of PPRA, and the head of public service can decide to outlaw a law. If the law says that you can procure manually, who are they to make a decision and say that if you procure manually, you have broken the law? So, Madam Speaker, it's important that to note that Article 94 of the Constitution, 94.5 of the Constitution says nobody, no person other than Parliament has the power to make provision having effect of law. So basically what they are doing is basically breaching the Constitution and also the laws that are already there. So I want to request that the CS must respect the rule of law. The CS must respect Parliament, considering CS is actually an expert in the executive who has drawn his expertise from Parliament. Why would he suddenly start despising the House that trained him for him to become an expert? So, Madam Speaker, I think it is important that the executive respects the House. Madam Speaker, as I finish, even the Ministry of Education is also becoming notorious for issuing circulars that have force of law. And recently we invited the CS for Education to come and explain a circular that he had done. And Madam Speaker, I was shocked in a response that is in writing that has been sent to this House. He says that his circular is not made pursuant to any written law, but it is made pursuant to general executive power. Madam Speaker, I think there is an outrageous belief in the executive that they have some general executive power to do anything and everything they want. This House must stand firm. We are going to support the committee's the recommendation that we annul, and any other circular that they purport to present to citizens of this country, we shall also annul. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Dr. John Mutunga, member for Tigania West. Is it on this one or on T? On the next one. The Honorable Peter Salasia, member for Mumias East.
I'm here. Madam Speaker, I stand here in solidarity with the report that has been presented by the committee, and I have enough reasons to support that report. And maybe before I speak, there are my reservation that I would want to speak to the Treasury or the CS of the Treasury, Banambadi, that Parliament is powerful. We are the people's representative. And whatever we speak here in the House, we are speaking on the behalf of millions because the Constitution gives us that power. And there is no any way that as a CS, you can wake up with the regulations that does not resonate with the situation of this country. We remember even the president promised this country with the internet connectivity for the entire country. But up to today, that internet is nowhere. So there is no any way, even up to now, there are areas that even to make a phone call, you have to climb on a tree to make a phone because of the connectivity. And also remember, there was also a report that was supposed to be put across whereby they were doing the report to know how this EGP can work. And there were counties like the Busia, Elgeyo Marakwet, to see if this thing can work. But that report has never been worked on. And even that, it showed that the Busia County and Elgeyo Marakwet that were given us the feasibility study to enhance, to see if this e-procurement can work, it was never accomplished. Even these counties, everything has been paralyzed for the last 6 months, since July. Nothing is happening in this country. They are lying to the country people
that this EGP is going to work against the corruption. But there's nothing like corruption being worked there. You look at even the counties right now, they are only been receiving salaries from July, August up to now. We are now in the second quarter. Nothing is happening because no one is ready to use the EGP, or they are not being prepared to use it. So I want to ask the government not to rush things and get them wrong. The way they are getting wrong with the SHA is the same way they are getting wrong with this EGP. We are asking them to nullify everything and listen to the report of this House so that we can make sure that this country is moving down. Madam Speaker, if we are not going to make our statement to be heard, then I think we are not going to be doing justice for this country. It is high time that we take the necessary action against the CS, so that if he fails again to allow the procurement to proceed, then we have to make sure that we impeach this CS so that he can know that he is not above everyone. Even the president is number 5, and this House comes number 2, according to the Constitution. Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving this time to speak.
The Honorable Beatrice Adagala, member for Vihiga County.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity also to speak on the report of the delegated committee. I want to thank the committee for doing a very good job, and we want to ensure that this report is supported with at whatever cost. Madam Speaker, when you talk of internet coverage, most of our villages are not compliant. In some areas, even as far as my county, Vihiga, some people, when they want to talk on internet, on phone, they have to go to the highest places, the hills, the trees, and other places. Internet is not covered there. So when you talk of us using internet all over, it is not workable. Therefore, this will be discriminating against women who will want to do tenders with the government. This will be discriminating the youth who are not able to access internet to do business with the government. I therefore, on that note, Madam Speaker, I want to say that the report by the committee should be followed to the latter. I support that report with all my body parts. It should remain the way it is. Madam Speaker, let us not discriminate. Let us not take other Kenyans for granted. Let every Kenyan enjoy, whether they have internet or not. I don't think the ministry should dictate to this House what should be done. Those circulars should be withdrawn the way the committee has put this report. I therefore want to support it with all my body parts. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Patrick Makau, Commissioner and member for Mavoko constituency.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, from the onset, I want to support the report of the committee that this electronic government procurement be regulated properly or be stopped or thrown away completely. Madam Speaker, let me speak from own experience. Today, this parliament, we have so many things that are not taking effect. Reason being, we cannot. You know, the unfortunate part of this is that government agencies, government institutions have money, but they cannot spend because the requirement by Treasury is that you use electronic government procurement. Madam Speaker, this spans from all the way on how you do e-tendering, how suppliers are supposed to register, how bids are supposed to be submitted, how contracts and awards and their management are supposed to be done, how you are supposed to audit all these trades. Madam Speaker, this requires that system be tested first before it is implemented in a sitting government like this one. Madam Speaker, we cannot introduce systems midway. When the budget of this country was being done, nobody was informed of EGP. It has come midway. Now, as leaders, we are supposed to ask ourselves, is the EGP supposed to help performance? Is it going to improve performance? or is it going to improve productivity? Madam Speaker, from where I sit, I think the government should have taken enough time to understand the system, make sure that infrastructure in terms of internet, in terms of everybody being eligible to digital platforms, is going to be available. But as it is now, 3/4 of this country, I want to say that internet is not possible. 3/4 of the people who are interested in doing supplies and procurement by government have no access to internet. So, Madam Speaker, I think I'll throw it back to this parliament. We are the budget-making process body of this country. But, Madam Speaker, the way Treasury is behaving, it is not, we cannot even say it is Treasury. It is the executive that is interfering with the workings, functions of this House. And I'm urging members of this House, it is high time we stood firm for this House so that we can legislate, oversight, and represent our people. Right now, in representation, we are messing up because our people cannot do business anymore. Our suppliers, our contractors, our vendors cannot be paid. They cannot even apply for the tenders because, Madam Speaker, it is quite difficult for it to have an healthy business doing environment. So, Madam Speaker, I support this committee, and I think this House should summon the CS Treasury. I'm embarrassed sometimes. When names are brought to this House, all of you, I see you clubbing, saying that's a good person. The moment they get into those offices, the first culprit to be taught how things are done, it is this House. Madam Speaker, it is high time. Some names when are brought in this House, we should be asking questions. Are you going to represent us? Are you going to represent Kenyans? Are you going to represent the interests of our youth, our women? What happened to the 30%? Yeah? Mr. Speaker, I think it is important and imperative for this House so that we are not taken for granted. Even the executive now has to be brought to its senses that this is a House that makes laws. Yes. And as a previous speaker said, we should be careful. The laws we make this House should not come back here and hit us, consumers. Right now, your CDF is at risk. Maybe some of you, you're not going to procure. Some of you are not going even to give bursary. If you see the forms that have circulated for how you are going to give bursaries, you are being stage managed. So, is it a part of the EGP? Is it a part of Treasury trying to gaggle us? Is it a part of the executive making members become beggars? Is it a way of executive making you go to them every minute you want to do any development? Should you be kneeling every time? Members of Parliament, let us make this House the traditional belief that this is the savior of this country, and Kenyans start believing in this country. I thank you, Mr. Speaker. I mean, I start respecting this House. Sorry.
Madam Wihia.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And I start to support the report of the committee. And Honorable Speaker, acknowledging that the country is on a stop mode. Honorable Speaker, we have institutions like hospitals, KPLC, which should supply our constituencies with transformers. They have not been able to procure. And Honorable Speaker, you wonder when such a matter comes on board and the court has pronounced itself, this House has pronounced itself, but the CS keep on going to the rallies, giving memos, threatening the procurement officers as if he's not part and parcel of this government. Honorable Speaker, shutting the country on a memo is quite unfortunate. With inadequate technology, considering our constituencies, majority of the rural constituencies are covered 50% or even less with electricity. And electricity being a platform which leads to internet connectivity. It goes without saying that the CS, the Treasury, and all the team who came up with this mind had really no understanding or good intention to the businessmen and women who wish even to tender very small tenders at the constituency or county government level. Honorable Speaker, lack of skills to the procurement officers is another headache. And I wonder what happens with this government. It's like there is a urge to change everything. Today we change NHIF to SHA. We change university education mode to a new one. Now we change the ordinary constitutional procurement process to e-procurement without considering that the staffs need to be trained, electricity connectivity is a factor, internet connectivity is a factor, Wi-Fi, particularly the rural constituencies, and this one, Honorable Speaker, just leave members of this House wondering, because Honorable Bandi was a member of this House, so he should have been an enabler to make the country work. As a matter of fact, when Honorable Bandi was selected, I personally said, I think the country is going to stabilize, because I know this person, he's an expert in finance, and he's an MP with political knowledge and experience, but far from the truth. He exposed his ignorance, making memos in the rallies, threatening procurement officers, ignoring the court rulings, ignoring this House, and even having audacity to argue that the CS has that power, that memo is so strong. Honorable Speaker, I'm wondering, how will this House legislate? We legislate and put NGCDF into law, a team goes to the court, and NGCDF is removed. We follow the Constitution, which says procurement can be done in either way. Then the CS come again and surprise the country. The government must show goodwill or good intention to any process, particularly in matters of business, which create employment to the same youths who the government is struggling with. Honorable Speaker, having said that, it worries me more when the court pronounces itself, the parliament pronounces itself, and the CS ignore that. So what is this House for? What powers do we have? Why do we legislate? And Honorable Speaker, with those many remarks, I look forward to this House supporting the committee report and nullifying this memo, let me call the memo from the CS, and asking the CS to style up. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
MP for Tetu, followed by Honorable Nkakawuchia. MP. No, it's working.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. Mr. Speaker, from the onset, I support this report that seeks to nullify these two illegal circulars. Mr. Speaker, this country is slowly or gradually marching from being a democracy to an autocracy. A very sad event that is unfolding in our eyes as members of this House continue to either stay silent or clap. Why do I say this? Autocracies start with undermining of democratic institutions. And our strongest democratic institution in this country is Parliament. Parliament is the one that has the preserve of making laws. And today what is before us here is a situation whereby the executive deliberately sidelines and undermines the role of Parliament. Mr. Speaker, I'm so happy that this motion is getting bipartisan support, because we have also been in a fairly divided Parliament. And unfortunately, Parliament has been left holding the short end of the stick time and again. Matters NGCDF, matters KERA, and several other matters where the executive seems either just to ignore Parliament or just do things outside Parliament. And the people who are going to bed with this government must be careful, even when they are members of Parliament. that when it is time to suffer, we all suffer together. So it is very, very important that as Parliament, when it comes to our issues, we stay together. Mr. Speaker, we are not opposed to automation. Automation is a good thing. However, someone told me that in government, the how is even more important than the what. Here we are dealing with an issue of the how. Automation is a good thing. One day we would like to all move to a situation whereby people can procure goods in an electronic manner. But as a country, are we ready? Do we have access to electricity? We are still in a country where more than 2/3 of the country is in darkness. Internet use is is very, very expensive, and very many other challenges. Mr. Speaker, we've been talking about achieving 30% job opportunities for the youth, for women, for the disabled, and the various other marginalized people in our society. This is one way of ensuring that marginalization is even further entrenched if we adopt e-procurement. And we just need to look at a few parallels, Mr. Speaker. We recently rolled out e-citizen, which has, as we speak, we don't even know, we are told sometimes the money goes to a foreign country, it is controlled by shadowy characters who are not known. We hear all manner of things. Mr. Speaker, we also have the SHA system. Look at the struggles that Kenyans have gone through as we have been waiting for systems to settle. So why not allow a parallel system, a hybrid system, whereby you can do e-procurement, but you can also do manual? Why not also allow a 3-year gradual rollout so that we can even start with one department? We get it right, then we slowly add to another. This thing of mupende musipende, which we have been heard being pronounced that e-procurement is here to stay and it will be used whether we like it or not. Again, Mr. Speaker, are the tendencies of what I'm calling the gradual move from democracy to autocracy through undermining of public democratic institutions. So, Mr. Speaker, this is not an issue of one side of this House. This must be a wake-up movement and a time for all of us as parliamentarians to stay woke, because time and again we are finding ourselves holding the short end of the stick with this executive overreach happening every day in our country. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Madam Rael Kasiwai.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I stand for integrity, I stand for transparency and accountability. Honorable Speaker, if this system was to help this country to enhance its transparency and accountability, I would be the first person to vote for it and to support it. In fact, today I would be here not supporting the report from the Delegated Legislation Committee, but supporting the implementation of this system. But, Honorable Speaker, it is not lost to me that when the team from Treasury went to brief the executive on their willingness and readiness to do a piloting of this system in this country, the executive ordered that even before the piloting is done, the system is rolled out. Honorable Speaker, the reason why this system ought to have been taken through piloting is to help in modification and customization from one agency to the other, especially when it is taken through piloting in certain agencies. Honorable Speaker, that would have helped us to refine the system, to help us understand what are the misses and what are the wins of this system. But, Honorable Speaker, that was not done. And that is why it is very unfortunate that the CAS Treasury, Honorable Bandi, would want to make us look like we are opposing what is supposed to help in transparency. But all of us know that his intention is to patronize procurement in this country, and that is what exactly the executive is doing. Honorable Speaker, the haphazard way in which the implementation of this system has been done is suspect, is mischievous, and of course, it sabotages its own intentions right from the word go. And that is what we call ab initio. Honorable Speaker, Parliament is the supreme body in lawmaking in this country. The CS cannot arrogate himself the roles and the mandate to make laws. He doesn't have that. Honorable Speaker, it is the judiciary that should be able to adjudicate all the issues judiciously in this country. The Honorable CS cannot do that. Honorable Speaker, why is the CS so ignorant about the technical challenges that we have in this country? For this system to have been implemented, we ought to have rolled out fiber optic and the internet across the country, Honorable Speaker. I know this might have been promised by the President at some point. And by the way, I'm taken aback. Could it be that the CS Treasury genuinely believed that the whole country is now connected to internet? Honorable Speaker, the Honorable CS must understand that there is difference between what is promised and what is said on podiums and in political rallies at the top of the cars from the reality on the ground. Mambo kwa ground ni tofauti. Me and you know very well and understand so well that we do not have internet across the country, even though the executive, the president, and the minister for ICT have tried to put it across to Kenyans that they have connected the country. That is not true. We know that has not been done. And so, Honorable Speaker, it surprises me that the CS, who ought to be knowledgeable, who ought to be understanding, can actually push on a system that it understands very well it cannot work at this time. And this does not mean that it cannot work in future. But what he's doing now, he's flogging a dead horse. Honorable Speaker, this has had an effect in this country. It has basically sabotaged, locked down cash flow from all government institutions in this country for the last 3 months. And no wonder Kenyans don't have money in their pockets against what had been promised by this government that is going to be putting money in the pockets of Kenyans. Honorable Speaker, the reason why Kenyans are suffering today, the reasons why Kenyans have no cash flow, there is no liquidity in the country, is because there is no money flowing out of government through the supplies. And you know government is the biggest consumer and the biggest buyer in the country. Honorable Speaker, we must remedy this and unless we want to look at our country going down the drain. Honorable Speaker, I submit. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity. On the onset, I want to support the report of this committee, where I'm a member, by saying that this EGP procurement is not going to function in many areas like my county, West Pokot, where even electricity alone is 5% in the whole county. So bringing in this type of system is like locking down my county, and that means nothing will happen. That is because of poor connectivity of electricity. Secondly, Honorable Speaker, this system will have a risk of data, or I can say cyber security and data risks, because such a system can easily be hacked. As you know, we have these agencies who are very good at this. So how sure are we that the data of our counties or the procurement officers will be protected? Therefore, Honorable Speaker, I think this EGB thing is not going to work in our country. Thirdly, Honorable Speaker, setting up alone this system might not be that cheap, because we will require high-level knowledge in terms of procuring the hardware, the software. So, in fact, using this money to set up a lot of money to set up a system that is going to fail us is also a waste of the taxpayers' money, because where do we get money? A lot of money to set up this high-cost system, which would, that money would be used to do something else. So, Honorable Speaker, I think Honorable Badi should rethink about forcing us to use this system, because to start this system is very, very, very costly. Honorable Speaker, another issue about this system is delays and a lot of bureaucracies. We know that this system is new in our country, and therefore approval alone might even take a lot of time, hence delaying all the programs in our departments, and I think it is not a good thing to implement. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, I want to say that Mbadi should know that we are in a third world country, and if anything, in other countries where this system has been used, like in Rwanda, it was not done hurriedly like the way it is being done here. There was a lot of piloting, beginning with small departments before it is rolled out to all the departments of the government. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, I say EGP system is not the best for our country. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Allow me also to support the fourth report on the implementation status, the report of the Committee on Delegated Legislation, and its consideration of the Public Procurement Regulatory Authority Circular number 04 of 2025, presented by the Committee on Implementation. Honorable Speaker, I want to go on record that any system that removes subjectivity and brings objectivity in public finance management, procurement-related activities, must be a welcome system. Must be welcome. Because we have harrowing incidences where the procurement process has been subverted for purposes of benefiting a certain category of people. There are many people in this country who have perpetually participated in procurement process, regardless how good their papers are, but they have never won any tender. There are those people, Honorable Speaker, without even papers, have bribed their way to win tenders, and they have no capacity to deliver those tenders. They have no capacity to deliver the works and services that have been contracted to do. And that's why you end up very many stalled projects, shoddily done works that simply collapse or end up not benefiting the public and there being no value for money. Honorable Speaker, I actually thought when they presented EGP that this was a revolutionary process system that can work out. But the first question I asked myself, I'm not a systems expert, but I've been involved and seen how systems are implemented. They're never implemented at a go. They're implemented in an organized manner, a phased manner, to ensure that any teething problems are addressed in earnest and incorporated to a point that when the system is fully rolled out, it's possible to serve the purpose it was intended to. That's why we pilot system in small areas, small cohorts, before we roll out the system in a go. Asking the system to roll out at a go, I would have surprised. I thought probably they had more better technologies, they had better hardware, they had better bandwidth to enable it to work. But obviously, when I engaged procurement officers, when I engaged the normal contractors and service providers, they told us that system, the way it is designed, cannot work. But Honorable Speaker, the reason why I stand here today to support this report are on 3 or 4 accounts. Number one, Parliament in its wisdom, under the powers granted to it by Article 95, the various articles, stood here and annulled the circular. For the Cabinet Secretary to proceed and issue subsequent circulars overriding the decision of Parliament is contemptuous, is demeaning, is belittling. This Parliament should not allow that nonsense. Because the moment it quiesces to this kind of approach, then Parliament has surrendered its mandate under the Constitution of Kenya. Second, Honorable Speaker, it's on record that the courts of law have issued injunction stopping the rollout of the system until and unless the issues raised in the petition have been adequately canvassed, addressed, and make sure they comply the principles set out under Article 10 of the Constitution. To proceed again and issue subsequent circulars, that is impunity, that is contempt of court. An administration that purports, Honorable Speaker, to rule by the rule of law, comply with the Constitution, to disregard parliament decisions, to regard court decisions, is a sure case of a dictatorial government. And we are sliding into authoritarian rule, we are setting up authoritarian institutions that are going to make sure this country does not move anywhere. For members of parliament, this is now a call to act. We have been subservient for so long. We have been made to become praise and worship members. It's time to stand up and stand up for your cause and protect the constitution of this country, the integrity of this country. We must annul. We must approve this report and make sure this procurement system is not rolled out until the government, the executive, complies with the requirements of the courts of law and the National Assembly. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Yegon, Honorable Bometist, MP for Bometist.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Personally, also, I would like to support the Delegated Legislation Committee on its report, which has been tabled in the House. And I would like to say, Mr. Speaker, I don't understand as to why this parliament is there when everything has been done through legislation and has been passed. And you find the minister going ahead and nullifying all what has been passed in this parliament. And I was asking myself one of these days that why is the minister doing this? And the other day he was in this parliament. And if he was here, I know he would have supported this report. I don't know what has entered into his mind when he has gone to the executive. Mr. Speaker, it is going to be very, very wrong for the country to go in this direction when the parliament has passed legislation and we fail to support. We have people across the country. We have talked about the internet. Even applying for this through the internet is giving problems to the people. We want the government to receive all these issues, which has been what they've done, and follow what the parliament has said and what the delegated legislation committee has given us. So that, Mr. Speaker, we are seen as we are following the law. But if we violate whatever we have passed in this House, it is not going to be good business as usual in the near future. That is why we are finding even the agencies and everybody in the country trying to become so agitative. And what has been passed. This issue of EG procurement, Mr. Speaker, we need to take time and digest it to make sure that it is working. We need to do it and allow the people who doesn't have the internet in the village, in the countryside, to also do the manual procurement. So long as these things are done fairly, we need to support it. Mr. Speaker, I support this delegated legislative that has passed. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
I don't see any further. Would the mover want to? Is the mover ready to reply? Mover to reply. The Honorable Mwenje, you are the deputy chair of that committee.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, from the outset, I want to put it on record because I've noticed members were confusing that this is a report by the Committee of Implementation following the motion that was brought forth by delegated legislation adopted by this House, then referred to the Committee of Implementation for purposes of implementation. Honorable Speaker, first of all, let me thank all the members who've contributed to this bill and to this motion, to this report. And more importantly, Honorable Speaker, it is clear because you can see that there was no member who rose to even not support this motion. Honorable Speaker, the Cabinet Secretary, when he issued that, this circular, and the head of public service, together with the other annulled circular, those three circulars are what he has been relying on for purposes of EGP. This House nullified Circular 4 of PPRA. Now, these two additional circulars, to make it clear, are the circulars that the Cabinet Secretary for Treasury is relying on for purposes of EGP. Therefore, if this House adopts this report, those two additional circulars stands nullified and EGP becomes a thing of the past, Honorable Speaker. We need to make that quite clear. Honorable Speaker, EGP as it stands, and as a courtesy of these two circulars that are there, violates Article 227, 1 of the Constitution, that provides that there should be the system, the procurement system should be fair, competitive, and cost-effective. This system does not meet those standards. So by nullifying these two circulars, we are actually complying with Article 227, 1 of the Constitution. Honorable Speaker, just to make it clear, if the Cabinet Secretary wants to implement EGP, he must amend Article Section 77 of the PPAD Act, bring it here, and that provision provides for both electronic and manual. He must bring an amendment to this House to amend and create that it be electronic alone. Furthermore, Honorable Speaker, in order for you to activate an electronic system, Section 7(2)(c) of the same Act provides that Treasury shall submit regulations to this House for purposes of creating a procurement system that respects and promotes distinctiveness of national and county levels. Honorable Speaker, you've heard every member speaking on behalf of their various areas and regions they represent, that electricity is not 100%. And Honorable Speaker, even for me as a member of parliament in Nairobi, where we might have electricity connected in my entire constituency, we can tell you we don't have internet all the time. We don't have electricity all the time. So that means, and more importantly, even the hustlers, the low people who are trying to get these jobs, Honorable Speaker, these people cannot meet the standards that have been provided that have been set out by EGP as it stands currently. So, Honorable Speaker, we need to go on record that this House is not opposed to an EGP system. That is not what we are here for. We're not opposed to better procurement systems. What we are opposed to is the executive legislating on behalf of this House. There's a proper procedure that the Cabinet Secretary can follow, and through that can introduce, bring it to delegated legislation for purposes of the regulations, and bring it to this House for purposes of the Act, and that will have been sufficient for him to introduce this system. Without that, Honorable Speaker, with this report once adopted,